Hello, hello. Welcome to Confidence with Coffee. My name is Heather Jean. So glad that you are here. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're seeing this on YouTube, check out the Vodcasts playlist. And well, in fact, check out all the playlists, but check out the Vodcast playlist this week because our podcast or vodcast was with Kate Benner this week, and it was just such a gorgeous conversation. If you're listening on podcast, then, or if you want to listen on podcast, I should say, then check out Confidence Through Cabaret anywhere that you get your podcasts. And as I say, you can check this out on vodcast right here on this YouTube channel. If you're on IGTV, jump into Confidence Through Cabaret, and you'll be able to find it on YouTube. So this week I was talking to the gorgeous Kate Benner, and Kate is someone who helps women overcome hustle culture, which I really love because, as women, we often think that we have to get everything done. Sometimes that's conditioning. Sometimes that's our own pressure on ourselves. And Kate, like myself, is a recovering perfectionist. And see, there was a time I would have said, "Oh no, I've said the wrong word. I'm going to stop this and re-record it." But I'm not a perfectionist anymore. I am with some things, I think, but for the most part, I'm not. I accept and embrace perfectly imperfect. And we talked about so many things. We talked about overcoming the inner critic. We talked about really listening to our gut instinct and tuning into our intuition and our inner knowing. And we talked about taking risks in order to have the best life that we want to have. But the thing that I wanted to kind of focus on and really just kind of have a coffee with you over was just, we talked about pretending and having the mask to appear that everything is great. So I lived that for decades. I mean, to the point when I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know what I like. I knew what I do. I know what I said I liked. I knew what everybody else expected me to like. And I was really leaning into those labels. Um, let's have a listen to what Kate has to say.
It's okay to like, that's what I teach people too. Like, if you're just having a crummy day, just give yourself the space to have a crummy day. It's okay. It's when you fight those feelings, that's when it gets worse. Having to push through a situation and pretend you're happy, I did that for a really long time, is horrible. Especially as a teacher. I mean, you had to pretend like everything's fine. And, in the back of my head, I'm like, my marriage is crumbling. I have to move out of the house. It's just like there's so many things that I had to just mask. And I really think people shouldn't have to do that. That's such a crappy way to live. So, it's okay to be unhappy.
Yeah, I love that acknowledgement about not wearing the mask, not needing to appear to be in the ideal relationship or have the ideal business or be in the ideal mood or whatever it is, but really being able to lean into who we are. And I think it's truly tragic when we are living under a mask. And not only, but especially women or femme identifying, we often will shrink ourselves to please others. And that helps us to lose autonomy in how we appear in the world, what our body is like, how we move through the world, how we take up space, or how we use our voice and share our message. And it is so important that we can really tune into that inner knowing about what's best for us. And we talk about this on the podcast, but I want to kind of highlight this here around what the outside world says and what they expect of us. I know certainly when I left my first marriage, it was difficult because my family and many of my friends didn't accept it because they wanted for me what they thought I had. And when you're into that kind of life where you're living for others and through others, you're really living by their choices. So all of their self-limiting beliefs, all of their choices, all of their desires are being lived out by you. So not only do I have my own limiting beliefs, but then I have other people's limiting beliefs. on top of that, if I'm living through what they're expecting of me. I know Kate describes in this podcast episode a very similar kind of sensation that I experienced, which is that not, people sort of think you're crazy. Why are you giving up this role? Why are you giving up this marriage? Why are you giving up all these things? And it's the answer is because there's an inner knowing that we need to follow our own path. Um, Progress over perfection is the tagline that Kate uses. It's something that I deeply, deeply believe in. Better than you were yesterday. I talk about that a lot on our Beat Your Imposter training. You can check that out on beatyourimposter.com/webinar. I'm just trying to find, there it is, and that's on the ticker on the bottom now. So you can check that out as well. But better than you were yesterday, and not trying to compete with who others think you should be, who you think others think you should be, and not trying to compete with how other people seem to go through their life, because we don't know everybody else's story, and we know that. Of course, we know that. But having to live through someone else's standards, and we talk about things like the perfect 10 if you're being judged or measured on in gymnastics. It's somebody else's what 10 means. I find that in the aerial world as well. I enjoy going through aerial competitions and watching, but it's not something that would interest me, because that's an external reference of someone else's standards, and do I measure up to those standards or not? And that's not where I'm at this point. And I think it's wonderful for people who want to be able to measure their progress. It's not an objective, but it's an external standard that kind of lets us measure our progress. It's just not where I'm at right now. I think that I'm busy trying to figure out my own standards and my own boundaries and my own unlimitations. And I just don't have the space for being measured by others' standards. And I get why people want to do that. I'm very externally referenced, so I deeply by nature understand that. But when we go inside and we listen to our intuition, and we listen to our inner knowing and our truth, and that's what it is, then that's what we need to be following. And that's what I'm concentrating on right now. So, just checking my notes here, because I had so many notes here about overcoming our gremlins and our inner critic. And, I spend a huge amount of time talking about that, limiting beliefs. And, when you, when you phrase things in the positive for yourself, things change. So, for example, uh, if I was to say to you that you have to exercise, that's not that it might be something you want to do, but it also feels kind of imposing. I have to do that. When you say to yourself, I have to exercise, I have to do these things, I have to eat right, I have to, it feels like it's very confining, and it's something that's being imposed, right? If we say, I get to be healthy, I get to feel more energy, I get to feel stronger, I get to feel more confidence in my body, I get to just feel a purge of emotion and energy when I'm exercising. Those things are positives, right? They're working towards. And I've said this many, many times on the various YouTube playlists about working towards is far more motivating than away from. So when we have to, when things are being imposed on us, it's an entirely different energy than when we get to, or when we're allowing ourselves to, or when we're exploring. Those kind of things are more playful and more movement. And it's the same. We talk about this. Kate and I talk about this with things happening to us. I mean, I don't even want to go through the long list of things that I have been through, but I am a breast cancer survivor. I'm a widow. I'm an abuse survivor. I'm, an empty nest mother. I'm lots of different things that explain my history, but they don't explain who I am. And when I think about those things as things that happened for me, I'm not saying I loved it. I'm not saying it was easy. I'm not saying I'd want it to, or wish it on anybody else or want to go through it again. But when I look at it as how it's happened for me, it's brought me to where I am, and it's brought me to where I'm going. And it's put me on a path that I would never have found without those things. And that's the point, isn't it? That life is a journey. Life is not a destination. We're never going to reach perfection. It's not possible. It's made up. It's as man-made constructive as time, do you know, or gender for that matter. And that's a whole other conversation. But I just want to remind you that words matter, and how you talk to yourself and how you cause yourself to be willing to put energy into things is a direct result of the language that you're using. So listen to your intuition, unpick what's going on with your inner critic. Try and get to the bottom of where that belief comes from and change it, because those words and that language matters. If you need any help, we always have a confidence challenge happening. Reach out. You can send me a message on socials. You can drop a message here. And I'm always happy to spend time for free with people who are ready to take action. We have a group of people who are taking action, and we work together and we support and uplift one another. That is my goal for Confidence Through Cabaret, is to be able to work with people who really want to take action towards gaining momentum in their confidence. I mean, that's where confidence comes from, right? So reach out. Um, Join us on all of the socials. If you Google Confidence Through Cabaret, you will find us on Facebook and Instagram, and obviously YouTube if you're finding us here. Our podcast, confidencethroughcabaret.com, has loads of masterclasses, which are things from move your body and chair dancing and makeup and movement modalities, all the way through to lifestyle engineering and dreamscaping and mindset and personal branding and anything that uplifts and supports confidence building in your personal life, work life, and stage life. We always start from where we're strong, and then we look for strategies that we already can engage in some parts of our life and transfer them to other parts of our life where we want to grow more confidence. So reach out if you want to know more. Thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe. Please check out the podcast or Vodcast with Kate Benner. It was such a pleasure. The only place that we are not Confidence Through Cabaret online is Twitter. We are at YBYWYS. And on on Clubhouse, I am at Heather YBYWYS. And those 6 beautiful letters stand for: it is your body, it is your world, and it is your stage. Take up space, own it, enjoy. That's what it's for. That's the journey. Thank you for being here. Bye.